What's that?
He wants to know if they're poisonous too, Kelly.
No. Like I said, they're only, the frogs are only poisonous when, because of they're actually poisonous ants that they eat in the rainforest. So the fruit flies that they eat aren't poisonous.
See that? So they're non-poisonous, poison dart frogs.
That's right. A friend of mine ordered a group of dart frogs that were supposedly captive bred, but when he was unloading them, his fingers actually went dead or went numb, and he ultimately found out that they were wild collected. So, we just have to be careful who you buy from. That's why these classifieds, you have to be so careful to not buy from these big retailers, maybe sometimes.
Some dart frogs are just poisonous to animals and not to humans.
Oh, no.
That's a-
Yeah, the true poison dart, there's only one true poison dart frog, Turbidatus terribilis, and they say that the poison from that frog, it's the most poisonous animal. The poison from one frog that killed 200 people. Wow. Yeah, so, but, yeah, I think it's pretty bad stuff. I have them at home, and that's why I don't play with them anyway. Right? They're just not. More for their. Now, the other key to this is we want the tank to be secured. We don't want it to find little dried up frogs underneath the radiators. That's a real amateur mistake. So.
So just a fluorescent light from like a fish tank setup is good enough?
Yeah, a little strip.
How many hours?
Oh, well, I think 12 hours is great, but my electrical bill is like $400 a month, so I do 8 hours.
8 hours, okay. Do you have everything on a timer?
Yeah.
And it's not set like the sun setting, the sun rising, it's just on off, right?
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? But it's true that as soon as the light comes on, there's a lot of calling. These guys, the Leucomelas, have most of my frogs. These the Azurias, the Tinctorius group, have just a very faint little buzzing call. But the Leucomelas have a really sweet little chirping, somewhere between a cricket and a canary, somewhere in there. And all the Siberian husky hares are free.
Lifespan?
Oh, that's a good question. In captivity, more than 20 years.
Wow.
And how many of those years will they breed?
Most of those years.
Wow.
So I've had Leucomelas. My pairs started breeding in '99, and they've had more than 1,000 youngs. I mean, it's a very slow process, but it's amazing. Yeah.
How often do they breed?
Every 10 to 12 days. And what's funny is that's under the conditions that you're a good keeper, that you're a good breeder. And there are a lot of people out there that they don't feed enough, and they're really not taking very good care of their frogs, and they get very frustrated, and so they're not getting good breeding. But I think if you just take the basic, you know, have good humidity, good temperatures, a lot of feed, I think, I always say good feeding is good breeding. I think the more you feed your animals, the more breeding you get, so I think that's a big part of it. But, like I said, I think that the more of us that are raising captive breeding poison dart frogs and getting more of them out there into the hobby, like we just had the International Amphibian Day, Maryland Amphibian Day this past weekend, and a friend of mine, we started a little company called the Notorious Tinctorious, and you know, we sent out a lot of frogs, and a lot of people bought frogs, and it makes me really happy, not just to get more frogs out into the world, but like I said, to kind of compete with the whole wild collecting thing. So I can't believe that I left my cuttings home. That was a whole big part of this, but if whoever decides that they like them, I promise to get you more cuttings. But these are well-started, real sweet little frogs. I'm going to come and take a look at them.
How often does the tank have to be changed, cleaned, whatever?
This is it,
That's it.
for the next 20 years.
And so it becomes its own little environment.
It's done.
Everything recycles and
Yeah, my original, the way that I did I have, at home, I have 2 pairs that are in a divided 55 gallon, and that's been set up since 1998. So,
that's interesting.
yeah. Also, you know, if anybody wants to, I'm in St. George, if anybody wants to stop by anytime and see my crazy collection, you're welcome to. And I've been meaning to do this since 1998, so.
Yeah, just a
Well,
house
glad
in
to
St.
finally
George?
come by.
Just a house, right?
Yeah, I have a house.
Okay. It's like an office or a special.
I have my office in my house.
Excuse me, a breeding question.
Yeah.
You have to drop the temperature in order to breed them? Like with snakes, you gotta drop like 20 degrees or,
No.
go through a bubble period?
Like after the big storm we had the other day, they love a nice big front that comes through, that gets them. They actually, you could see like the lightning bolts coming down in the street, and the frogs are like, wow, this is great.
That's what the snakes do. The
Yeah.
barometric pressure goes up, it will breathe.
They love that stuff. Yeah.
So
So.
basically, the tank stays like that, you have to replace the cuttings, I'm sure they stays there, right?
Yeah, the thing about, as babies, these guys will sort of be climbing around and stuff, but eventually they mostly on the forest floor. So you want to keep more walking around space. As the plants grow in, you do want to kind of take clippings out. That's why.
Those tanks actually are good, those tanks.
Oh, yeah.
And those cultures, you buy them and they stay like that for a month?
Yeah, once you start a culture, it takes about a month or 5 weeks for it to exhaust. Like, if you buy the media, the way that I do it is, it's about 2 full tablespoons to about half a cup of water. And this is called Excelsior, it's like shredded aspen bark. That's so that the flies have some place to lay their, for the larvae to creep out onto the metamorphose. And if you put it in there, you get more production out of it. So probably you get like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 fruit flies out of the culture. But you use that culture to make up the next culture and just keep the whole thing. So I make, like every morning I wake up and make 12 cultures. I make my espresso, I make 12 cultures. Every day. So that's right. So it's a tough.
And how often do you have to feed them, every day?
I feed the babies every day and I feed the adults every day. Sometimes I feed the babies twice a day.